All right, Dr. Elliosha Hajari is the research team manager for plant improvement at the Agricultural Research Council, and she joins us now. Dr. Hajari, warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on SABC News this evening.
Thank you, Flo. Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. All right, so of course, lychee farmers now being asked to sort of try to produce more, but are there resources though to do so in our country? I mean, there's many dynamics, you know, when we're talking about resources, the biggest of which is, of course, the issue of land. Is there enough for them to do so?
Yes, absolutely. Land is available. The resources are available. I think the challenge lies more in the ability or inability to access those resources. So in terms of lychee production, we have production on about 1,500 hectares of land at the moment. Our production annually is between 4,000 to 8,000 tons. So we have a sector that is established in a set market, but there is certainly immense potential to develop further, to include other role players from the small scale grower up to the commercial grower. Yeah. So while challenges certainly do exist, there are certainly routes that can be used to access resources and infrastructure that is available.
And what is the market like for lychees? Is there a big market for lychees? I mean, I don't think I know anything apart from, you know, just eating it as the fruit itself and lychee juice. I mean, maybe there's some other thing, byproduct that comes from lychees that I don't know of. But, you know, what exactly is the market for lychees?
That is a super question, actually. And I think if you ask many South Africans, all of us, very much like yourself, we're simply familiar with the fresh lychee fruit that we see in the shops during the summertime. And I think we all know that it's only during that short summer period that we actually have access to the fruit. So one of the goals, the secondary goal of today's event was not just to expose the growers to cultivars, but to actually introduce the potential for agro-processing. So you've mentioned lychee juice, for example. We've seen that in the supermarkets. But can we think outside of the box? Can we develop some new and interesting agro-processed lychee products that could actually expand market accessibility, have products available for longer for our consumers on the shelves? And the answer is it's an open playing field. So much potential. We in South Africa, in terms of lychee, we haven't invested enough research and resources towards it. But I promise you, if you were at our event today, you would have seen everything from the most amazing lychee slushy, dried lychee fruit. I don't know, have you even heard of a dried lychee? It's actually very popular overseas. To lychee muffins and pickled lychee. The potential is so immense, and I think the growers and the role players had an opportunity to see that today, and we're hoping that it will spark an interest and we can actually push forward an agenda that extends beyond just the fresh fruit in South Africa.
And I mean, you know, obviously I had to do some research on lychees before talking to you, and you know, I realized that there's actually a lot of health benefits to lychees that I wasn't aware of. Some of them including in fact anti-cancer properties, which you would think, you know, would be very interested in normalizing blood pressure, heart rate, just to mention a few. Do you think that, you know, these benefits of lychees are showcased enough? I mean, some of them I'd only kind of looked at now, and what should be done in order to, you know, create more interest around lychees? And I think generally in South African homes we'd have, you know, your typical maybe apples, bananas, you know, in the fridge, but not always will you find, you know, lychees in the fridge. And looking at these health benefits, perhaps we should.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good point that you raise. I think our South African public are simply not aware of the health benefits of eating lychee fruit and the fact that it is so accessible to us here. And I promise you, when you visit other countries, you realize that we are spoiled for choice in South Africa because of the fabulous weather that we have here. We have the most amazing fruit available to us in terms of fresh fruit. And in fact, up to half of our lychee that's actually produced annually is exported. So there's a major demand in the European Union, in the UK, in the USA for our lychee fruit. So I think locally we can do more to educate our people on the value of what might be seen as a non-traditional fruit, which is a lychee fruit, and the health benefits thereof. the potential is just immense. So today's event is really to bring awareness, and we thank you for having us on your show this evening, so we can actually extend the message a little bit further.
And what do you think you got out of the event today? I mean, you saw a lot of farmers there, and obviously a lot of ideas were exchanged, and a lot of products were showcased. But what was the main thing that we sort of got out of the event?
So I think one of the biggest take-home messages today was that the farmers were simply not aware of the vast diversity of cultivars, that Litchi cultivars that we actually have available in South Africa for our industry. So at the moment, one cultivar, the Mauritius cultivar, actually dominates the entire South African industry. And so, in terms of risk management and to diversify the sector, we need to actually move beyond that one single cultivar. And if you have a look at the footage from today, the farmers actually were really interested in existing cultivars that are available that can diversify the industry. And like I mentioned, it's not just for commercial farmers, it's from the small scale growers all the way up to the commercial sector. So I think that was the biggest take home message today, is that the diverse access that they have to the various cultivars, which is super for the industry.
But it wasn't, just about talking about the positives. There were, there was some talk about challenges, and I saw one of the lychee farmers there, and you were earlier talking about that we have this great weather, but sometimes it seems that this weather can also play against us. I think I heard one of the farmers there talking about the fact that, where we have too much heat, which of course is a benefit, but it can also create sunburn, and then it's difficult to then export the lychee. But, what can be done about that? When it comes to weather, heat, I mean, that's nature. How do you address the challenge that I don't know if anyone can really do anything about it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because like you're saying, you can't control the weather.
Yeah.
So this is where agriculture and R&D actually becomes important, because what our researchers have done at the Agricultural Research Council, I'll give you a very easy example. You've mentioned the increase in temperatures. So I think all of us have felt the warmer winter temperatures. So what this means is that winter temperatures occur during the lychee flowering. So if the temperatures don't get low enough, the trees don't produce enough flowers, and consequently don't produce enough yield. So we know we can't change the weather. What we can change is an orchard management practice. We can spray something to the trees to convince them to flower even when the temperatures are not low enough. So we've developed at the ARC, and in collaboration with our partners, orchard management, and in particular spray programs, to try to essentially convince the trees that yes, you do want to flower even though it's not cold enough, and in that way our growers still have enough flower production, fruit set, and actual yield at the end of the day. So while we can't control the weather, we can control chemical spray programs to try and make sure that we protect the yield and the sustainability of the sector for the growers.
All right, thank you for this informative conversation. We certainly appreciate your time. Dr. Elliosha Hajari is Research Team Manager for Plant Improvement at Agricultural Research Council. Many thanks to you.